locate the whereabouts of animal rage was performed on a bull in a Spanish bull ring. This strange archival film tells the story. In the 1960s, Professor Jose Delgado took a normally hostile bull and implanted electrodes into its brain, electrodes that could be activated by a radio transmitter. His objective was to see if stimulation of the bull's midbrain could short-circuit the rage signals, stopping the bull before it reached the matador. After the bull had recovered from the implantation and in mid-charge, the button was pressed. The bull's aggression ceased instantly, or so it seemed. A clearer experiment was performed with cats. In this classic example, the hypothalamus, the rhythm maker, was implanted with electrodes. Could it be responsible not just for rhythms, but also for rage? The switch is turned. Then the switch is turned off. So indeed, the hypothalamus does control certain types of aggression. Yet, when another region of the hypothalamitation and in mid-charge, the button was pressed, the bull's aggression ceased instantly, or so it seemed. A clearer experiment was performed with cats. In this classic example, the hypothalamus, the rhythm maker, was implanted with electrodes. Could it be responsible not just for rhythms, but also for rage? The switch is turned. Then the switch is turned off. So indeed, the hypothalamus does control certain types of aggression. Yet, when another region of the hypothalamus is stimulated, we see another kind of aggression, the quiet biting attack, the silent stalk after a rat, and the calculated kill. Turn off the switch, and the kill is forgotten. Now, how could one possibly confirm this startling finding in human beings? Meet Mark Larebas.
My name is Mark Larebas. I feel that I'm a pretty easygoing guy. Try to get along with circumstances as best as I can.
He's still the menace to society.
In the Sacramento criminal court, Mark Larebas was accused of assaulting and almost killing his girlfriend's 2.5-year-old daughter.
It's hard to remember. It's been quite a while ago about the incident itself with the child. But I remember her crying, and I was laying on the couch, and then all of a sudden it just really got to me, and I rushed in there, and I remember hitting her, but I don't know why. I could never pinpoint why. I mean, nobody just goes up to a child and starts beating on them for no reason like that. Even with my own daughter, if she cries, I try to ask her why she's crying. Or, since in a baby, you check them and see if they're wet or if they're hungry. But this time, it just really made me explode.
Mark Andrew Larebas, the man accused of molesting and almost killing a 2-year-old girl, was to have had a date set today for his preliminary hearing. But Larebas is in the University Medical Center, where doctors have discovered some sort of tumor or growth in his brain.
I first met Mark about 3 days after the assault. He had become depressed and even suicidal and was admitted to our hospital to the psychiatric unit. This allowed us to begin a diagnostic study of what might have caused the change in Mark's personality.
He couldn't understand how this act could have occurred, how he could have been responsible for this kind of behavior. And yet, as we reviewed his history, it was evident that he had been having more and more outbursts, and it had been more difficult for him to control his emotional responses to tense situations in the several weeks prior to his admission.
You know, as a parent, you sometimes don't really want to believe that anything is wrong. Then when it does happen and you start thinking back and you realize, well, there was something seriously wrong with our son.
At first, he was very sweet, kind, and considerate, just perfect gentleman. And then slowly but surely, he would be getting upset all the time. It was just, it'd go like 6 months, then 3 months, and then every month, every 2 weeks, every week, and then it was every day. So it was just kind of like a gradual change, but it just kept getting worse and worse.
I could never figure out about me losing my temper so quick. I could never understand it.
He'd walk in the door and just look at me and start throwing things all over the house, come at me and strike me.
When I hit my wife, it would just be like something I couldn't control. Like, maybe like getting into a car accident on an icy road.
As certain times he was kind of like a raging animal. He would just, there was just no control, none at all.
I never thought about that I might have something wrong inside my brain.
We began a series of routine studies for conditions of this sort. One of those was an X-ray called a CAT scan. In this study, we were able to demonstrate the fact that there was a shadow here at the end of the temporal lobe on the right side. This kind of finding suggests a tumor. We couldn't be sure from the initial findings what kind of tumor this was, but its location and shape at this point suggested that it was a cyst. A cyst is like a balloon, and it slowly can fill with fluid over a period of years, increasing the pressure on the structures that are adjacent to the tumor itself.
The tumor was located in an area of the brain where pressure was being exerted through the amygdala against the hypothalamus, parts of the brain thought to be involved with aggression. 5 weeks after his arrest, Mark Larebas' tumor was surgically removed.
When I woke up from the anesthesia, everything seemed more real to me for some reason, that I could handle myself a lot better. The world seems a whole lot better for you.
He could control his temper so much better. I mean, I hadn't even seen him control it as good before as he did afterwards. And he was really willing to try to work things out between me and him.
I never thought it could be that good for me. As though, even though I was going through a criminal trial.
While Mark was now reconciled with his wife, he still had to face charges for the assault against the child.
While I know it's not socially easy to make decisions like this, legally it was a very easy decision, and quite frankly, I didn't have any problem with it at all. It's just an instance where the boy was affected by a foreign body in the brain. The doctors said it had an effect on his behavior, that he was unable to conform his conduct to the requirements of the law. And by reason of this, they felt that he was, under our California definition, effective at the time, legally insane. I found him to be.